Today I would like to talk about the fear. Why? Because it's one of the main reasons why international businesses, local businesses, and global expansion projects are failing. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Adam Skolneczny. I am CEO of EVIT organization that is helping corporations from around the world working with Asian businesses, as well as helping Asian businesses collaborate with Western enterprises. So let me start with the fear. So what is the fear? Fear, in my opinion, it's a lack of the skills. So basically, when we have no skills, we will have fear because we will have this conscious or unconscious understanding that we are bad at something. And when I talking about lack of the skill, I would say here, I would divide here this for two parts. So first of all, I would say that we have a lack of the skills because we don't have experience. So let's imagine many years ago when we are youngsters, teenagers, when we want to approach the girl and we don't know how to do it. We really shy and we really afraid. Yes, but with the time, if the man he has few opportunities to talk with the woman, they're getting quite open about this, and it's getting much easier to discuss with the lady, invite her for the dinner, so on and so forth. So this is one of the reason why we have this fear, because it's basically lack of the experience. Second part or second aspect, I am dividing the fear for its bad experience. So basically, we did something, but we fail, and instead of taking this as a lesson for us, we took it as a failure, and then in our head we have this kind of perception that we are bad at this and these specific activities and we shouldn't do that anymore. And when we have this kind of perception about ourselves, then we will not approach to this activity again. So let me explain why I'm talking about this and why I believe this is a very important subject. Because in my opinion, the fear, it's something what's stopping us from personal development, from our business development, and actually from the world development. And what I mean here, to explain you, let me give you the very great example. What I heard from my mentor, Trickbet David. I highly recommend you to follow his channel, Value Tainment. But he said one day, he asked the question, it was during the podcast, if I remember well. He asked the question, do you know what happened with the best businesses in the world? Like, he asked, do you know what are the best businesses in the world? And then his audience like, yeah, there is the Apple and there is the Microsoft. Those are the best businesses and they're doing very well. And he said, no, the best businesses in the world, they were never established. And what I learned from this and how he explained later is that there are so many great entrepreneurs in the world. They have a great idea. They could have a great execution skills. They could have a great leadership skills. But basically, because of the fear, they will not even approach and they will not start into building this amazing business, product, corporation, so on and so forth. So that's why I believe this is so important. And this is the same thing with global businesses. So if I have a client coming from the Europe and they're really interested to work with Vietnamese enterprises, let's say, but after a little while they see that, okay, I need to learn about this, I need to understand this, and the fear starts showing, because on the very early stage we have something what I call uneducated optimism. So we are very optimistic about the project because on the very early stages is always looking so easy. So the people approaching my organization, they asking me to connect them with IT service providers in Vietnam, and they're really excited about that. Then, when we consult them, what we need to pay attention to, what we need to look at, what are the cultural different, what are the business ethic different, there is the fear start showing up. And we, from my perspective, we need to inform the people about this, so they can actually start educating themselves and then get to the level that they will be able to work with Vietnamese service providers, and that project will be successful. Because if they approach with this, uneducated optimism, uh, and then they might be quite disappointed. So the our organization role is to help people to quickly understand about different, show them how to handle them, and then go forward. And this is something what I say, that lack of experience, lack of the skills in working in the international environment, it will cause the fear. And sometimes happen to me that even we try or we want to do the good thing for the other, but it will harm our business. Because it happened to me that few times I share the information about business ethic, business work ethic, differences between Vietnam and Western countries, and the client said, "No, I don't want to go forward." Um, and I respect that. I always say I am here to help to decide, not to the buy. And if the client they believe this is not for them, it's completely fine. But again, in my opinion, you should have at least basic knowledge, basic skills, so then you can run the project successfully. And the same would be with the project with the global expansions. And here I think there is much, much more harm for the enterprises, because there are so many great enterprises in Asia. There is so many great IT service providers in Asia, Philippines, Vietnam, India. But because of the lack of the skills, because of lack of the experience, or sometimes because of bad experience, they do not pursue their global expansion. And this is really, really harming for their business. But also, as I mentioned before, it's harming world development, it's harming business development. If more and more companies connect together, um, create something what I call collective brain, meaning collaboration together to create some amazing products, this is really huge value for our world. So that's why I said why in the global expansion this has like much more bigger harm. And I had this situation that there was the enterprise that from Vietnam who was 100% focused on the Japanese market, and they want to diversify, and which is this super great approach. Because if you are dependent on one market, and this market is volatile in terms of the demand and currency exchange, that could be really dangerous for your business. So long story short, I got this client from Vietnam who was focused on Japanese market, and they said that they want to go global. And they had a great opportunity. I mean, they have a really good product. They had some very good services. They had unique selling point. I saw this for them as a very good opportunity, good decision. But with the time, we were going through documents. In the meantime, the one of the founder, he went to Japan for business trip, and they got some more traction in Japan. And because of the changes in the conditions, there is maybe more business from Japan, and the fear happened that maybe what happened if they fail, so on and so forth. They decide to not go ahead. And what I can tell you, obviously I am not fortune teller, and I don't have a crystal ball that I can look into it. But from my experience, they will come back, and the problem is will be that they will already waste a lot of time. They will lose opportunity to position themselves in the market. They will allow the competitors to already take their place. This is really important because sometimes enterprises think, okay, I will not do it now. I will go safety, but then I can still do it in the future and there is no risk at all. But this is really, really uh, not good way of thinking. And this is, in my opinion, not correct. There is the risk. There is the huge risk. Actually, by deciding to not taking any action, you are really harming your business. If you're afraid, you have many other options. You can start easier, remove risk, so on and so forth. But not taking actions at all and stopping your global expansion, it's really, really harming businesses. Next place where I see the fear, and which is really harming also IT businesses, especially, it's deeper in the lower organization levels where we have IT engineers who are approaching to the interviews. So this is again actually fear, which is introduced by two factors I mentioned before. First of all, it's lack of experience. So basically, IT engineers, they're not really experienced in doing interview. Their job is to create the code, good engineer, and then interview. It's something that happen from time to time, very rarely. So they have no experience. On the top of that, there are many engineers, especially in companies that doing the IT services, that they have a bad experience. And you see those two elements, they will affect their conscious or unconscious mind, and they will build a lot of fear. And what will happen? I experienced many times situation where person I know, IT engineer who could speak very well English, approached to the interview with the client and suddenly he is forgetting English. He starts stuttering. So nervous that he forgot everything about the IT, about technology. He couldn't answer the questions. I felt really, really sorry for this person because I knew it that he is good. He has a capability, but the fear is actually making him into some of extent representing himself as a lower than he actually can achieve. He represents himself not so good as he really is. So what we can do to remove the fear and be able to run our project successfully, there are two things. First of all, it's educate yourself and prepare yourself. So you need to get basic knowledge and prepare yourself to be able to successfully run the project, any kind of project. Is it the interview? Is it global expansion? Is it the engagement with Vietnamese IT service provider? Or is it engagement with any IT outsourcing company in the world? Or is it your new business project? Wherever you do, please research and prepare yourself. There is one thing what I need to warn. It's something like what I call information paralysis. So what is this? Sometimes when we learn more and more, we see there is so many missing points we have. Like there is so many information we lacking, and we start actually creating the internal fear because we start believing that it's too much for us. And this is really, really deadly trap for many entrepreneurs because they will, when they will start researching in the middle of the way, they will drop the project. So be careful of that. Learn as much as you need, prepare as much as you need, and then kick it off. Be aware that you don't have a 100% skills, and this is okay. This is no problem because nobody have. Look at the big businesses. They started in the garage. Look at the Microsoft. He knew coding, but he didn't know how to create the operating system. But he said, okay, let me do it. And he tried. And probably he failed many times. He didn't create his Windows right away. So that's a very normal way. And that's completely fine. Just go for it. So this is the first thing. Second, what I recommend is try to remove the risk. So if there are any way that you are able to remove the risk from the collaboration, please do so. So let's say if you start in working with a new IT service provider, ask them for some guarantees, ask them for trial period. That can be very helpful for you. If you start new business, maybe don't just bootstrap, get some friend to invest with you, get maybe investor. So the risk is diversified. Maybe don't take mortgage for your house. Maybe it's too risky if you have not much experience. A very simple step you can take to protect yourself and your enterprise. And there is one more thing. Actually, it's my secret advice, what I always advise to my friends. Make sure you have a first buyer of your product. Even if you don't have a product, make sure you have a sales done. So this is give you actually confirmation that the product or service is good. And the last thing, maybe what I could recommend, if you're really afraid and the fear is huge and the preparation for the project will require too much time and you want to start soon, what you can do, you can start small. Start with a small engagement, start with a small project, start with a one developer, start with the one client, start with the one market, start with the one agency. It's basically starting small. It's also helping you remove the risk, stay on the safe side, and then allowed you to learn also during the process of the working. So this is really like practical learning. One more thing, what I would like to mention, it's that the fear is everywhere. And it's same with me. Like I also have a fear to start building a podcast because it's something I never done before. I don't have experience. I cannot say I have a bad experience, but I heard so many times some bad podcasts where the people, I know they have a bad English pronunciation, they use the bad words, and I am afraid also that somebody will laugh at me. But I know how to overcome the fear. I know what I need to do. Know I need to research. I need to talk with somebody who knows how to build the podcast. I need to practice. I need to prepare. And I do not afraid. So the fear is everywhere. And I guess we need to get used to with it, then take action to remove it, get better, get more experience, get good experience, get more skills, and then the fear will disappear step by step. Maybe it will not disappear completely, but we will get familiar with this. Yeah, that's it. I hope this material help you a lot and show you the way how to remove fear. Maybe not completely, but actually at least how to get familiar with it. And you will be brave enough to take next step. And this is what I really wish to all of us. Take next step, go ahead, go for it, and see how it's work. Thanks you so much. Have a great day.